Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this special edition of Flying with Mike, as I'm calling it. It's more of a COVID special, as I have been positively marked as having COVID and on a 14-day, uh, 14 days away from work because of it. So, thought I'd throw a stream in here and we'll see how day by day it goes. Honest with you, no symptoms. Other than the stupid little stick up the nose saying I have COVID. Beyond that, I feel perfectly fine. I wish I could be out there at work, but the doctors say no, I'm not allowed for 14 days. And I'm not the only sob story out there. I know many of you have that same thing where why am I sent home when I don't feel bad? So, but anyway, and if I'm the only one, well, then I'm the weirdo like everyone says I am. But anyway, we are sitting here on the ground in Singapore where we left off with our cargo flying. Uh, we're going to head up to Hong Kong, Chaplakok, the main airport there now. Was looking to get into Katai, the old international airport there with a well-known approach called the checkerboard approach where you flew to a checkerboard and basically turned for the runway. However, that's no longer an X-plane, and well, I'm not going to load it up just for one flight, so we'll just go into the main airport here in Hong Kong and well, do what we do best, and that's get in the air. So there's the 747 from Cargo Lux that will be flying out today. So let's get up into the cockpit and get going with pre-flight and then right into basically before start. We've got the plane pretty much ready to go. Um, so uh, you're in the 747 from the Sparks mod group. Really good version of this aircraft. Um, there's some quirks and still some things they're working out, but they are constantly updating. I haven't seen one in a little bit, maybe about a week or so. So we'll just fly with what we had until we see some other updates going on. But basically, we have it all loaded up and ready to go. Jay Drums, we thank you for joining us out there. You were the first to sign in, so pick a seat up top. That's the only seats we have on the cargo plane. And sit back, relax. Hope you enjoy the flight. So, with that, let's get into the pre flight brief for this, and that we'll need Sim Toolkit for. Okay, now for the pre flight brief here, basically it's a pretty simple yet 1,457 mile long flight we've got here today. We're going with Singapore. Basically, we'll take off on runway 2 left. We're going to be flying the Victor Mike Romeo 5 Echo departure. However, let me throw this caveat out. I could not load that departure in, so I did the next best thing and put each of the fixes in, and we'll go over them here in the departure brief. It's a really simple departure. It's basically 2 turns, and then you head for the final fix of Victor Mike Romeo Manning, I believe it's called. I could be wrong. VOR, but or Mersing or something like that. We'll get into that though later. But from the Victor Mike Romeo VOR, we get on the Mike 771 airway to Dulop, DULOP. From there, we're on the Quebec 1 to Carso, and from there, Victor 551 to Betty, and the Betty arrival into Hong Kong. Currently planned and set up for the 7 right approach. So pretty simple, straightforward approach as well, and we're parking in the cargo area. Duh, in Hong Kong. It's the second largest cargo port in the world. Only second to, anyone out there know who the first one is? If not, Memphis. So, yeah, there isn't anything bigger than Memphis out there. Although Prime is trying, but Prime's got a ways to go. All right, so now there's a couple new features that have come into SimBrief, or I'm sorry, Sim Toolkit since last we've been on the air. This one right here being the big one, Taxi. When you click on that, it brings up the airport, which is no different than the live map taken down. Why it had to be put here, kids. It's all I can say is kids. Lazy, lazy, lazy. All you had to do was zoom down the live map. That was it. But now we got to have yet another feature on here that can break. Oh well, what are you going to do? So we'll move over to the loadout. We're in kilograms because they say at Sparks that's the easiest to work this on. So we'll keep with it. So we've got it all set in kilograms, including fuel and loadout in the plane. So we're going to run with 12 passengers, including you, Mr. Drums. 78,552 kilograms, along with 45,320 kilograms of fuel. So we've got a pretty good load going this 3.5 hour run. Our cost index for the flight is 100, as you can see both here and over here. And we're going to start at 35,000, and all of this mumbo jumbo doesn't really mean a lot to me other than we'll hop up to 37,000 at DOSUT. Beyond that, I'm not going to be up, down, left, right. No. We're going to just keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Use the KISS method. Why we're making it so complicated these days. Welcome to aviation, I guess. All right, so for the weather out of Singapore, winds are out of the north at 6 knots. Unlimited visibility and a few clouds at 1,300, scattered at 16,000. So, folks, you can't ask for a better night to fly, except that we have a broken layer to go through at 30,000. Ooh. All right, so 25 degrees on the Celsius out there, and 24. Could make this into a fog situation later. We'll see. We'll hopefully be long gone before it does. And the QNH here is 1012. Again, nothing significant going on, so that leaves us in good straits there. And looking here at Hong Kong, we got a wind of 080 at 3. Variable between 050 and 200. Wow. Now that's a swinging wind. Also unlimited visibility. Temperature 18 degrees Celsius, 14 degrees Celsius on the dew point, and no significant weather at all. 1020 on that altimeter when we get there. We'll revisit that when we get to it. So there you go, folks. That gives you the basics of our flight today. Wind-wise, we know it's pretty decent here. This gives you an idea of how that route translates out. It's like about a 1 or 2% variance from just going straight line. Wind levels, 30,000. Pretty insignificant. It doesn't look like it's going to really affect us much. 34,000, which is our cruise. Pretty much the same winds. And we're going to go up to 37, so 39. Little change, but really not much. It's still pretty light. Hopefully not as variable as what we got coming into, wow. We go from a headwind to that's technically wind shear. That wind is shifting. I mean, that's almost to a tailwind. So, wow. Anyway, we'll see how things translate out when we get there. Significant weather-wise, the only stuff we have is right here with some thunderstorms in the area. Not seeing them yet, but who knows? When we get airborne, we may. But that's what we got here. Isolated CBs to 53,000. Yikes. Not getting over those too easily. All right, so with that, let's let's do the live map here. See if we see any significant weather to talk about. Other than here's Singapore. We're parked up here on the north end in the cargo area. I believe it's gate 504. We're going to zoom out a little. We got a little cell there. And that's about all we got. It's very scattered, it looks like. So, well, we'll see what happens when we get airborne. So, well, anyway, let's pull SimBrief out of the way here, get back into the cockpit, and proceed into the before start checklist. But of course, we'll do a quick recap so y'all are caught up with us. One thing I did not mention with Sim Toolkit, hang on a second, and I'm just going to read it off. I'm not going to bring it up. Flight time today looks like 3 hours and 40 minutes. So, you know, we'll do what we can. All right, so with all of that in mind, folks, let's get going here. What we've done to date is basically accepted the cockpit, done our pre-flight checks, and we're at the before start. So what that all rhymes out to be is we basically turned our utilities on, battery and standby power, went through and made sure all of our switches are set in the proper positions, did a fire check, everything tested fine. We've got our nav lights and logo lights on. Then we put our IRS to nav and then proceeded to get our flight plan inserted in. Now, before we go into the before start checklist and get the pushback ready to go here, we'll go ahead and kind of do what we need to let you know how we got around the error that Singapore is giving us. They give us a GPS error when we try to set up the departure or arrival. So we got to hand put in the fixes for the departure. And that's what I did. There was Tompo, another one, and then VMRE or VRE or whatever it is. So that's what we did there. So let me show you here. Zoom in a little bit. All right, so we can't put in runway 2 left. So what I did is we just went with this, went to TOPOM, to AKOMA, and then to VMR. That's the departure in a nutshell, folks. And for that, I'm going to bring Sim Toolkit back into the mix here, so that way you can see exactly what we're dealing with. So if you run into this, which you probably will till X-Plane does what X-Plane does, I don't know. I don't run into this very often. Well, actually, in X-Plane, I run into it a hell of a lot. I never ran into it in FSX. So, you know, I'm starting to get a feel to go back to FSX. All right, so from Sim Toolkit here, what I'm going to do is pull up NavGraph and basically kind of zoom down. And you can see just how simple this departure is. But anyway, let's get right into it. So we already know the weather. It's out of the north, a couple of knots. So we know it's going to be 2 left. Whoops, where am I? I didn't put my departure in. Shame on me. I thought I did. I must not have turned it on. Oh well, hang on a second. Q? That's exactly what I did. All right, so where are you? There you are. All right, so here's the departure for 2 left for Mersing, 5 Echo. First things first, approach will be 120.3. Airport elevation is 22 feet. Transition level to worry about here is 11,000 feet. Now, I'm not really sure all of this is yet modeled into the Sparks aircraft, um, but at least you can put the numbers in the right places, except for the descent side. I don't think we were able to do that last time, but we'll find out. We don't exceed 230 until passing 4,000 feet and exceed 250 until 10,000. Not a big deal. So our routing is 2 left to Topham. Must be above 2,000 feet. That shouldn't be hard. Now there is an interim fix. I'm not too worried about it because we're pretty much the same heading to Acoma. And again, there we just have to be above 7,000 feet, and that shouldn't be a problem either. And then to Mersing at 116.8 Victor Mike Romeo. That's where we exit the SID and onto the airway. So overall, it's a pretty simple departure. To Topham on course 23, turn left to Atrum, to Akanum above 7,000 feet, and then right to VMR, VOR. All right, and our initial clearance climb is to 3,000 feet, which clears Topham, and then we just have to go from there. So pretty straightforward. Like I said, they don't get much simpler than that on the departure, other than take off, go direct VMR. That would be even simpler. Taxi-wise today, well, first off, we're not going to show up here, but we're in 504, which is here. So we're going to face north, taxi to the end, and get on. Well, I'm sorry. We're going to face south. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of, I was going to try this a couple days ago, and the winds were actually favoring for a nice 2-0 departure. And, well, not today. So yeah, we'll make the long taxi down. As you can tell from here, we got to go all the way down, get on 2 left to take off. So piece of cake. We'll be rolling out of here real shortly. And there's what it looks like on Sky Vector. And put that away. And let's get back into the sim. So that's what we've got loaded in here. I'm not putting the altitudes in because it's, to me, kind of pointless. But we're going to go the best we can with what we have to work with. The good thing is we have all of the Betty arrival fixes plus the fixes on the 7 right. So we're good to go once we get over there. So not a problem there, Mr. Drumps. Copy that you're having, you gotta love the app freezing on you. Well, I'd say take it outside, but here in St. Louis it is a little chilly, so that may not help to unfreeze it, melt it. So, and G-Nice for you, welcome aboard. We got a seat in the upper deck for you as well. Folks, we are at the before start checklist, so let's get things set up here and start going through it. We just did a quick down and dirty departure brief because we really can't set it up in the sim other than hand put in the fixes like I was just going over. So to do the before start check, all right, so we got to get the APU started, so let's head up top here. We'll click 2 fuel pumps. That always seemed to come on when you move the switch anyway. 2 clicks, hold for a couple seconds, and then let it fire up. And when the gens become available, we'll turn those on. Down below, brake pressure helps to have some hydraulic pressure on. Okay, and fuel quantities are good. There's the APU gens. We'll go on to them. Here comes the pressure up. Brake pressure, by the way, is right here, folks. Okay, so we got the shipping papers. Fuel quantities are checked. 46.0. We should be, I think it was 45.3, so we're good there. And okay, let's see. MCP is set. Now, that's one thing I didn't go over with y'all in the depart brief, so hang on here. Let me do this. All right, I'm going to zoom back in here. Hang on, it'll be a lot easier. Now, one thing the mod here does not do well are the V speeds. These are not what we're showing. Instead, what we're using, and I do need to set this up with Mac Air, so while I'm briefing it, I might as well get them set, or we're going to sound like a Cessna getting airborne at 65, 75, and 85 knots. Somehow we're not even to where the airspeed's almost not registering yet. Let's see here. So V1 is 145. Rotate will be, lost my place, there it is, 153. And then V2, 162. Save. And while I'm here, I am going to go ahead and get this started. Otherwise, I'll forget it too. And that is the Mac Air program. Okay, now you can see what I'm doing here. Just selecting the aircraft. Out of all of these, which I don't even know if y'all see them or not, so. All right, CLX, where are you hiding? Like I said, there are a bunch, so bear with me here, folks. I wish they were alphabetical to make this whole process easier. They are not. Unless it's some kind of common core alphabeticalness where you go from Singapore Air to Air France to SLT to Korean to CSN to FedEx to I mean, that could be alphabetical in the Common Core world. No offense to you, Mac Air. I know they go in sequentially. You have no control over that, but I'm not a big fan of Common Core anything in this country, so I had to get my slug in somewhere about it. All right, so we're running with a cargo load of 179,813. Okay, and we got that in there. And let's get the correct altitude put in. And you know what? Let's go ahead and start. That way I can't forget. All right, so that wraps up the Mac Air getting the ACARS program ready to go. All right. So like I said, our V1 is 145. Rotating at 153 and 162 will be our V2. Shouldn't be any problem with flaps 10. We're set for the select speed of 54 degrees. So we'll see how that translates out in the aircraft. Now, let me kind of push this back here on my other computer Okay, so we got the speed set. The stab trim needs to be set to 4.3. Let's see what it looks like right now. Oh, I can't read it there. Should have left it zoomed in here. Okay, so let's pull that to about there. Alrighty. And aileron and rudder trims are zeroed. Auto start as needed. We have it turned on. And we'll do a recall, and we've done our crew brief. All right, and the recall, we'll do a cancel, recall, and auto throttle. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to first do something out here. Get an idea. And nighttime ops can be interesting. Go ahead and get that door open for the moment. As you can tell how the airfield looks, really brings its own challenges to the page here. So let's go ahead, bring in the tug. Okay, and we'll push it back just about to there.
All right, Captain, got the directions. Let me know through the menu when you're ready.
Okay, we are ready, so we'll... The good thing is we can do a lot while he's coming up.
Great news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
All right, so we got auto start, recalls done, crew briefing complete. That'll give us a chance to briefly go over our engine start and what we're going to need to do. So with the engine start, it's an auto start. So we're just going to pull 2 and 3 when we're ready, get them armed up. Once he says we're cleared to start, we hit the fuel control levers. Those are located right there, and then away we go. They'll fire up on their own, and pretty simple stuff. I mean, they don't make it very complicated in this plane at all. So that's the engine start. I am going to go ahead and kick
All right, looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
Almost. This guy forgot one thing. Remove chocks. And we'll get the beacons on. Now we want to go down to both. Let's go ahead and turn the wing lights on. And we're ready to go. Honestly, for those of you familiar with cargo parking, we're in a little tight here for a 7.4, especially if it was a nose loader. In this case, it more than likely wasn't because of it being a BCF passenger version. But if it's an all-out freighter, that nose could be loaded.
Welcome aboard, Captain. Tow's connected, bypass bins inserted. Go and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
And we're real close to the building, so it'd be really rough to put a nose loader on this. So, all right, so hang on a second here, sir, while I start that. Come down here for the parking brake and push him back.
Here comes the pushback. Light them up.
All right, so we'll come back up here, and I am going to go to my aviation flashlight because they are very hard to see. Come back down to the bottom and then rest upon here, and we can watch it from here. Okay, they are not starting, so that tells me something didn't happen right. Packs. Oh, aha, the old. Yeah, you got to make sure the APU bleeds on, folks. All right, so they're firing up now. And as you can see, it happens every time. Flying with Mike, I always do something crazy. And I love when my messenger just loves to go nuts. Okay, so the engines are spooling up. I'll go ahead and turn the rest on. Sorry, I don't have much more lighting on the top, so I'm going to have to use my flashlight again. And what I've done is just armed them. Just by pulling them out on auto start does not start them. You got to physically move the fuel control levers. So, okay. And you can now see they're spooling up. And at 20-ish, in that ballpark, they'll light off and then they'll start rising up a little faster. More of it will be seen right on these numbers, the EGT. Fire's gone to the turbine, so now it's heating up quickly. The N1 blade is spinning up. The N2 blade behind it is...
Just about done here. Go ahead and set your parking brake.
If he would quit interrupting me. Alright.
And we're disconnecting the tow. Give me just a moment.
Just kidding with y'all, folks. But anyway, there you go. You're looking at how far we got to go for our taxi. But anyway, we're waiting on them to spool up, and they have. Okay. And we can release him. Now, checklist from after the engine start, ignition continuous on, APU off, and this goes into a cool down cycle. Packs to normal, and auto brakes to normal.
And we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the left. Take it easy and have a safe flight.
Okay, so those are on. Fuel pumps are on. We're going to make sure we have it set right, so no worries. Hang on. Turn that off. Back down here to 2. To fuel. Yeah, we're good. All right. Oh. There we go. And the auto throttle's on. Anti-ice recall, test flight controls. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so left, right. And one thing I do want to do here, let's do this right. All right, it looks like the controls are free and they're zeroed. Go back to engines, and flaps are setting to 10. So I'll just No, I don't want 5. I want 10. There we go. Okay, trims look good. All right, folks. For your information, we are on POSCON. So feel free if you've joined the network and want to fly with us. We're in Hong Kong. And ladies and gentlemen, we are about ready. Nope, not about ready. Parking brake off. Just seeing who all is here. And I'm going to go ahead and stow. I say that, and then they want to be a pain. Hang on a second. There they go. 4. All right, so let's get the lights on. And we're on our way, folks. Now, if you're using SIM Toolkit, this is when that little trick with the live map works. And you can see your routing. Oh, they took it off here. I tell you, man. Oh, that's okay. I at least know where I'm going. I also have the chart with me. Okay, so here we go. Coming up to the, it's kind of interesting the type blue they use for the taxi lights sometimes. To me, and I'm sure it's just me, they have a more purple color to them. We'll head on down to N1, on down to Whiskey, and make our way towards the end. Okay. I know looking at the chart, that is one of the more complicated areas here at this airport. So, missing out a chance to fly with someone to help me in areas that I really need help with, possibly in the stream and all that I'm not seeing or getting feedback on or stuff like that. So, all right, so 17 minutes into the taxi here. We're at the end of the runway. Let's run the before takeoff checklist. All right, now that before takeoff checklist includes the MCP, which is set, heading of 23, climb out speed of 172, and we're going to 35,000 feet. Transponder, let's get that set over. Auto brake to reject. Signs are on. All right, let's do a recall, and flight attendants have been notified. They are ready for departure. Okay, so these are separate now. There we go. And all right, now this is the part with POSCON. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to switch to the tower frequency. announce my intentions or what. So we're going to opt with, until further scolded that says I'm doing it wrong, I'm just going to take off. And I'm just setting the live map up there. I know it's such a new thing. There's only 15 pilots and 3 controllers, and I don't even know where the controllers are. Oh, there they are, the same place all the time. All right, so the eastern part of the US. All right, so we are ready to go here. Okay, so entering the runway. Gonna go ahead, hit the strobes. I just turned the APU bleed off. Again, folks, starting your engines, make sure that's turned on. I forget that every time, mainly because it's not in the checklist. So I may have to pull up my old one that I used with FS2 Crew and PMDG. So that may have to be what I do from now on. Plus it flows a heck of a lot better. Okay, let's get lined up here on the runway and then we'll come to a stop. Now, a lot of people tell me that is not how you're supposed to do this. Well, yeah, in actuality, the airline guys, and by the airline guys, I mean the passenger guys, they just want to get going. So they do it in a different way. But for the maximum performance of your aircraft, coming to a stop, throttling up to 60%, making sure your engines are stable, then releasing your brakes and going to toga. I hate to break it to you folks, that is the proper way to take off. But again, the airline guys, I don't know if you want to, I mean, I'd have to ask my dad, but to me, it's like being in a hurry. And I mean, we all understand they're under the gun, get the plane in the air as quick as possible. So we're on continuous ignition, flaps are 10, and turning that to on. Landing lights on, maybe. There they go. Back down to 4. Here we go. Let's get them stabilized and release the brakes. And we'll go toga. I'll go ahead and set LNAV. Speed tape's alive. There's 80. And yes, folks, the 747 does seem very slow down a runway. Remember, you're 3 stories up in the air in the cockpit.
V1. Rotate. V2.
Okay, there's a positive rate of climb. Goes the gear up.
Gear up.
Okay, and we are on our way. I get the autopilot on quick here, folks. Main reason being hang on a second here. Okay, so let's see what happens here. We're going to go ahead and push up to flaps 5.
$2,500.
Okay, and as you can tell, we just made our 2,000 at Topham. We're now direct to 7,000 feet above here. What I'm going to do is allow the plane to accelerate, get up a notch of flaps. There we go. I always seem to do a lot better when I get that trim tab set to 0 or 0 notched. Okay. All right, so we are on our way. Let's go ahead and there we go. Cool, we're on the board, so that's working. And all right, now you all saw that FMC up. How did I do that? You can't do it like you can in the default from this one. Gotta use the Copilot side. So we're now climbing out 1,800 or so feet a minute for Acoma, which is our 7,000 or higher fix. Let's go ahead and get into the after takeoff checklist here. 1 second here. Okay, for the after takeoff checklist, the positive rate of climb has been established. We're gear up and off. Flaps are up. And we're going to verify here. Up and showing up and up. Next on the list, auto brakes are off. They were set for reject. And autopilot's engaged. Pressurization will monitor, which we can do right here at the bottom of our ECAS page. At 10,000 feet, we'll turn off the landing lights. Transition level, which is 11,000, we're going to set back to 1013 on the altimeter. After that, folks, we just climb out. At cruise, we got a couple of checks, and then 3 hours later, we're on our descent into Hong Kong. So, folks, we're just going to continue our climb out here. When we reach 10,000 feet, we'll take some of the restrictions off our 12 passengers on the upper deck, and y'all can get up, walk around, enjoy the music, and we'll see you all throughout the climb out and cruise till we get to the arrival brief. So right now we're passing 7,000 feet, coming up on Acoma in 2 miles. So we're doing good at that level. Let's go ahead and push in on that. And we'll put terrain up on this side, weather up on this side. All right. And there really isn't a lot of terrain to deal with. We're mostly over the far western Pacific, so there we go. Acoma just met. And again, we just bring our heading up to what our case for some reason we need to take over. And there were times with PMDG that I actually flew it by the headings. Okay, let me just see. Okay, once we cross 10,000 feet again, folks, which is about 1,000 to go, we'll turn the landing lights off, transition level, which is another 1,000 after that, set our altimeters, and come off continuous ignition. So it's a fair checklist that I have here for this aircraft. Not 100%, but then the aircraft itself isn't a full 100% yet. It's getting there though. They've in 2 years done remarkable stuff with what I'm seeing, and I've only been on it for what 3 months. So very impressed, to say the least.
10,000 feet.
Okay, there's the 10,000 foot, so let's get the lights off. Also going to turn on the aft cargo heat, and just in case we run into storms. Okay, and we'll get the wing lights off as well. Come back down to here. And we're just accelerating up now. Not really sure why she decided to rock it up. That's one thing I'll never understand with this plane. Bear with me here, folks, while I try something here. Okay. All right, so everything's looking good on that end. Okay, so we are past transition. And that means we can turn off. Okay, so the fun part is it's not one to climb. Well, we're getting close. All right, now she should start showing some life and getting some altitude. All right, so with that, as promised, all right, we'll get the music going again, and hope y'all enjoy the ride up to 35,000 feet. I see we're doing the rocket again. Don't know why it's got to constantly do that, but make sure our flaps are up. Spoilers are down, just in case. Get the obvious. And hopefully, hope for the best that we'll make 35,000 feet here shortly. So for now, folks, I'm just going to sit on the side. Any comments, any questions, the chat room has been open. Hope you all chat away. And by the way, folks, if you do want to see where we're heading possibly tomorrow, now that I've got a schedule change, you know, the best way to find out is always to just click follow. Make sure you have notifications turned on, because there'll be an email sent to you when we fire up, letting you know where the stream is going that day. Or check in on our Facebook page or Twitch page. We have a pretty up-to-date schedule, and Discord as well. I've kept the link off of Discord for a little bit here while I get things still better situated to prevent what we had a couple weeks ago going on there. So hang on a second here. Oop, I didn't want it to do that. Hang on a second. There we go. All right, so just sit back, relax, folks. We are working our way up to flight level 350. Hopefully we'll make it here in the next few minutes without stalling out, which is my big fear with the way X-Plane and the winds and all seem to work here. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, y'all enjoy. We'll be on the side monitoring the chat channels, and hopefully y'all have a great time as we are here in the cockpit. Alright folks, I'm back with y'all now. Just been sitting here kind of watching an in-flight movie. Currently, let me just kind of zoom down. We are 81 miles from the top of descent, so let's get this arrival brief out of the way and then we'll start on our descent. Alright, so do this, then get some toolkit up here in a bigger view. And real quickly, the Betty arrival into Hong Kong is like this. Come on. There we go. We're going to come over Baker, then Betty, then Mango. Mango is 13,000 feet to Guan, to Soki, to Limes, and then from Limes we're going to proceed in. Frequencies, I don't know. This thing is really acting slow. 28 feet above sea level is the airport, and it's a pretty simple arrival, as you can see. Now for 7 right, we're just going to come off Limes to Stella to the VH720 and then follow the localizer and all in. Looking at the strip across the top for the frequencies is 128.2 for the ATIS, 119.1 if Hong Kong is up, 119.5 for the director, 118.4 for the tower, 122.55. Right now I do not think they're up. Our localizer is 109.3 and we have an approach course of 74 degrees. We'll need to be at 721 at 1600 feet and on the glide slope. If we go mist, we'll climb to 5,000, proceeding to Porpra. At or below 5,000, then a right turn, direct Guave to Soki, Limes, and then we'll hold until told to come in. Alrighty, and then what we're expecting is the full load of approach lights, Alsif 2, Pappies on both sides, and then there's again the representation of our missed approach. There's no questions. All we have left to go over, hang on a second, we are still, there we go, and let's center up here, I said center, there we go, there, and we are now 59 miles out, and we're getting ready to begin our descent here soon. VREF for the day, according to Professional Flight Planner, will be 147. We'll come in at about 160, slowing up over the final mile or so in. There's no questions. Let's go ahead, dial things up here. I do want to look at one thing on my arrival. That was 13,000 at Mango. So let me kind of zoom down to where I can read a little more. Oh, what am I on? Oh, that's why. Okay, so we are set for it. Okay, cool. All right, folks, so I will be right back, and as soon as I am, we'll start our descent. Okay, folks, sorry about that. Had to make a very fast run to the bathroom. Alright, so we're descending now. And let me pull some, get us back to here. And put some drag on. Okay, so we're beginning our arrival into Hong Kong. Oh, excuse me. I guess this map doesn't update on its own. Huh. All right. And again, this special flight today is basically brought to you because I tested positive for COVID. So I'm out for 14 days. We'll see what kind of flying, if this is it, this may be, but we're heading into Hong Kong. Yeah, the good thing, I guess, here, on this flight at least, the sun's coming up. Let me take a look at some extra stuff here. Okay, so maximum 6,000 at Limes. Maximum will be a little lower than that. Yeah, we're gonna be, well, we're getting down as quick as we can. Okay, so we're 5 miles from Mango. We're supposed to be at 13,000 feet. We've missed that mark big time. But we're working our way in. We'll try to make up for it here as we come in. In the meantime, let's drop down here. Okay, and we're off Mango. Alright, so checklist wise, let's get caught up here real quick. Alright, so we're on descent. Passenger signs on. Oh, I hate that. Okay. Signs on. Pressurization check, descent announced, recall, auto brake set, approach briefing complete. And at transition altitude, which is not doable. Okay, so okay, so we're not able to set that, but our descent altitude would be, or transition, 11,000. Okay. And real quick, what we're going to do that. And get rid of that. go. 1020. Same thing over here. We're going to set it.
$18,000 feet.
There we go. And we are now set up. Hoping for the best here. Alright, so we are 20 miles out. We're descending to 8,000 feet. We got about 8 to go. Oh, and it's been raining outside. How about that? Okay. Kinda do not like that. Oh, excuse me. Alright, so we are beginning to slow to 240 as we get ready to round the corner and head on down. Going to take us on down to 4,000. Alright, so I hope you all have enjoyed the flight. I know I haven't been on much, mainly because I kind of still feel a little guilty about doing a stream while I should be at work. And this COVID thing really messing with my mind. I just get irritated. I don't feel like I have any symptoms, and yet, all because a stupid stick in the nose says I've got positive for a COVID means I'm contagious. I have a hard time with that. Okay, so we need to go to continuous power again. Landing lights on. Okay. Okay, folks, we've been flying now for about 3 hours and 15 minutes, 4 hours and about the same amount on our stream. So we should be seeing Hong Kong here soon. Believe it's around on the other side of this hill here, because we're going to be making our turn here shortly.
$10,000 feet.
All right, so there's the 10,000 foot call. Landing lights are on. Speed brakes will go to arm here shortly. And we'll get the gear down and the flaps here on schedule here shortly. Okay, so we're made it to 8,000 here. Let's continue on down to 4. Let me look at my chart one more time. Stella's 2,000. Okay. We're going to go ahead and start slowing to 220. Go to flaps 5. Okay, folks, here we come. Okay, slowing up to 210 and continuing on down to 4. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed the flight. We're almost into Hong Kong. I wish we could have gone to Cathay, but well, it's just not available, and so alright, so we'll settle for the current international airport there. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and slow us up a little more. Bring us down to 2,000. Flaps 10. just check. All lights are on. Okay, last thing we have left to do is, besides finish out our deployment of flaps, arm the speed brake, parking or auto brakes are set to 3. Okay, and down to 2,000 we go. Okay, let's go ahead and slow up to 160. Put in 20 degrees flaps. Speed brakes now armed. Okay, and we've got a little bit of a low layer of clouds, so I'm glad we did turn on the engine ice. Obviously at 14 degrees Celsius we're not worried about icing, but the raining could be a problem, so I'm glad we have it on for that. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead okay. And for now, I am going to go ahead and slow the music down here. Turn this into a sterile cockpit again, and we're going to bring it around for landing. Okay.
2,500.
All right, we've got it armed for approach. We're going to go ahead and bring the gear down. Gear traveling.
Gear down.
Gears down and green. Go and arm up for an auto land just in case. All right, folks, and okay, we're going to take over. All right, in Hong Kong Tower, cargo looks 200, final runway 7 right. Flaps full.
One thousand.
Okay, folks, we are now established. Still way high. Okay. Okay, we're on glide path now.
Five hundred. 400. 300. 200. 100.
Okay, power back.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And we're on idle reverse. Out. All right. Yeah, I think a taxiway is missing too here. But that's okay. And Hong Kong traffic, cargo lux 200's cleared, runway 7 right to the cargo apron. Oh, excuse me, folks. All right, so we got to make a turn here. In the meantime, I'm going to kind of okay. All right, and we're Okay, and we are in Cargo City here. Okay, so after landing, landing lights off, flaps up, stab trim to 6 units. Okay. MCP reset, EFIS reset, transponder to standby. And APU on, auto brakes off. Okay. Oh, look at that. Cargo Lux followed us in. We'll take the next stand. Okay. Right, we are in the blocks, folks. Let's get that parking brake set. Okay, so shut down, parking brake set, taxi lights off, clock stopped. Electrical ground power set to APU. Fuel control switches. Let me make sure APU is on there. Okay, fuel cutoff. Passenger signs to off. Fuel pumps, electrical demand or hydraulic pumps off. Okay. Anti-ice is already off. And folks, we are in the blocks. Got the door open. Let's do this one. All right, and this dirty Cargo Lux plane is in. Oh, let's check something. Remember, we had Cargo Lux landing with behind us. So there we go. Alrighty, folks, that wraps up this the show. We had 173 feet per minute landing. Nobody guessed, so we're going to wrap this stream up. Thank you very much for flying with us today, and look forward to maybe another flight or two here while I'm under COVID restraints of staying at home. We'll see though, day by day. We got our pirate filed with Mac Air, and let's just real quick make sure it went through. And it did. And oh, wow, there are a bunch of people flying from Mac Air right now. So, all right, I was glad to be one of those. All righty, folks, we're on the ground here in Hong Kong. And hope y'all enjoyed the flight. I know I did, even though we were pretty quiet through the whole time. But it was nonetheless a pretty good flight. Couple of problems here and there with the mod, but that's to be expected when it's still being developed. So from all of us here at Mac Air, how about flying with Mike? We hope you have a great rest of your Sunday and a good start to your week. God bless and have a great day.